Hello, good afternoon everybody. Welcome to today's cooking show at Moley Robotics. Today we'll be doing a very popular dish in South Italy, a very popular coastal dish, which is going to be seafood linguine. It's a very tasty dish full of calamari, capers, anchovies, wine with sauce and so on. So it's a very tasty dish. And I'll be showing you today the whole process of how the fresh ingredients are going to be loaded, how the utensils are prepared, and how to activate the cooking system for the recipe to be cooked from beginning to the end. So today we're going to be on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So please do send in any comments you have. We are live, so it'd be great to get some live questions in, and I'll try and answer them as best as possible, and try and answer them live on air. If there's anything a bit more complex, any commercial questions or anything a bit more information that you require, do send an email via our website or our contact us page, and send in your questions, send in any inquiries you have. Even if you have recipes, send them through as well, and we'll be happy to have a look and we'll get back to you on that as well. So yeah, look forward to all the questions and look forward to showing you this recipe. So I've prepped the ingredients already, and they've already been prepped and weighed just to save a bit of time, so it makes the whole live cooking demo a bit more enjoyable. So let's go straight into the tablet, and I will show you now how this recipe is prepared for the system to cook. So we're going to our recipes. Now the tablet, you'll see on your screens how we have a selection. We have a section of recipes that have about 50 recipes at the moment, which we are adding every month. And so we have different worldwide cuisines. We have vegan, vegetarian, low calorie, certain recipes for allergies and so on. And there's a vast selection of worldwide recipes that you have access to from lots of famous chefs from around the world. And here we now have the linguine, seafood linguine. So let's locate the actual recipe. Here we go, seafood linguine. Now here you see we have an indication on the ingredients required and gives you the weight of each ingredient. Also tells you the equipment required to make this particular recipe. On this occasion we've got 2 medium pots where we will be cooking the sauce and the pasta in parallel at the same time, as a chef would normally cook this recipe. So we're using 2 pots, and we'll be showing you how that is going to be cooked. And we have a mesh basket, and we have the slotted spatula. Also nutritional facts as well. We have nutritional facts on all our recipes. For those people who are really keeping an eye on any dietary requirements or under weight management, or really just want to know what kind of food and what kind of levels of carbohydrates, fiber, protein, sodium, which is your salt, and it just gives you an indication of what's in the recipe itself. So let's go straight in. So we also got get ingredients at the bottom. You see that function. Now with this, you can actually get your ingredients fresh. You can send the message to a mobile phone via a text or WhatsApp or even an email. And sooner we'll be having a order ingredients with delivery. So you can actually send the information to a delivery company and have the ingredients delivered fresh prior to cooking. And so they arrive fresh and healthy in terms of the whole recipe to be cooked. So there we have get ingredients. So let's go straight into the robotic cook. So I want to start the robotic cook. Now, this is a very clear diagrammatic view of the whole system in terms of where the containers are, location of the utensils and so on. So at the bottom, you see all the ingredients to be located in each of the containers. So let's go straight into the first item, which is your garlic. Now, that gives me a selection of containers it allows me to put into on the shelf. So I'm going to put the garlic, which is going to be on the bottom shelf on the right-hand side. That's 15 grams of garlic. It's already been measured, and that's going to go in location number 1 at the bottom. And I'll confirm that's been done. Second item here is the prawns and the squid, which is also known as calamari. So that's going to go on the top shelf on the far right. Here we go. Top shelf, far right. Confirm. Next item is going to be the white wine with tomato puree, crushed black pepper, and molten sea salt. And we're going to put it on the next one along the top. Confirm that's been done. I beg your pardon, that's this one here. And then we have the modern sea salt, which is going to be the third one along the top. Now, it seems quite a lot of salt, but this is just for the actual linguine, just to give it a bit of flavour. So that's just going to be used purely for flavouring in the water for the linguine. So that's confirmed in that location. Now we've got fresh linguine. That's going to be in one of the tall containers. I'll just put it on the right-hand side. Confirm. And then we've got the cherry tomatoes with flat leaf parsley. I'll put that on the top, on the fourth section. Confirm. Now the water is already in the actual pot. It's 1,600 grams of water that's already prepared. So I'll confirm that's in location. Extra virgin olive oil, that's already in the oil dispenser. And these dispensers and the salt and pepper shakers, they're all standard off the shelf. So our robotic grippers have been calibrated for these specific utensils. So that's already in the oil container. At location number 1. And we've got anchovies, capers, and chili flakes. And that's going to be on the top shelf, on the last section. And I'll confirm that. Also, we have videos. As you go through the recipe, you can actually see all the ingredients. It shows you how to prepare each of them as they should. And it's a great, not only is it for entertainment, but also for educational. It really teaches you how to cook a particular recipe as it should, or as a chef or a professional person will be cooking that recipe. And it gives you knowledge as well. So you're actually learning about different recipes from around the world. So that's in confirming location. And now we prepare the equipment. So as I mentioned, it's got 2 pots. One of the medium pots is where the sauce is going to be made, and that's positioned on the left-hand side, and that's already there, so that's confirmed. The second pot is the water. That's already in position and confirmed. We then have a slotted spatula, number 1 hook. Yes, and it's also telling you to face it the right direction. So the diagrams are not only visually, it's very clear, but it's also telling you how the actual utensils should be precisely positioned, because it's very important when it comes to stirring and the preparation of the recipe in the pots, that all the utensils are positioned not only in the right location, but also facing the right way, which is very important. All the manipulations are designed for this particular spatula to be facing that way, so it's very important. And the diagrams are easy to follow for you to do the recipe. So that's confirmed. And finally, the mesh basket. Now the mesh basket here, we'll be taking the linguine out and timed perfectly, so it will be turned on when it's required, turned off, and then put into the actual sauce. So that's in position. And there we go, so everything's ready. It didn't take me too long. The actual ingredients actually didn't take me too long to prep. It only took me about 10 minutes to prep the ingredients. They were freshly bought as well, so they're fresh ingredients. And I know that this particular recipe is going to be absolutely tasty and fresh as it can be. So let's start cooking. So let's start this cooking process. Now we have voice notification as well. You may hear the voice in the background. Now the voice notification is quite important because you could be in another part of the room or in another part of the house as this is cooking in the kitchen. So at least you can hear what's going on in terms of how far it's cooking the recipe. So you're able to plan your meals, or you plan the day accordingly. Let's turn the voice up a little bit. We've also got voice activation as well. You can actually activate some of these preparations that I did by voice. So you can select the recipe by voice command and do certain parts of the recipe preparation by voice.
Pour oil.
There you go, pour oil. So the oil is going to go in. The hob is on. Now the hob is an induction hob. It's flush mounted in a Korean work surface. The actual downdraft extractor system which will take the smoke and the smell away, goes through a downdraft, filtered through to a duct and converted into fresh air. So that's a very high-level Moley filtering system. This can also be ducted out as well, so you can actually duct this out to an outside wall if you want as well.
Tip garlic.
Tip garlic. So the garlic going in. This is when you can really smell the recipe being cooked. As soon as the garlic goes in with the oil, that you get the very strong, pungent smell of the garlic. That's one of my favorite parts of the recipe, actually. So that's going to go in. So you notice the movements are done very slow, very meticulously. The system is not designed to increase the speed of a recipe as such. It's actually designed to cook it exactly the same way the chef would cook this. So all the actions, all the manipulations, all the different timings are exactly as the chef would be cooking this recipe. So let's see if there's any questions. First of all, let's go into the Instagram page. So we've got a question in from mamasopoint.com. Can the robot cut the carrots and other veggies? It doesn't cut the ingredients, no. The ingredients have to be manually cut and prepared and loaded into the special containers. But we do have an integrated scale system. So the containers just need to sit onto the integrated scale that we have, which is linked to the tablet. And you just simply put in the ingredients and the tablet will tell you when it's reached the required weight for that particular ingredient. So no, all the ingredients are manually prepared. Teja V, what kind of recipes the system is more trained on? So the kind of recipes, as I mentioned before, we have worldwide recipes. We have lots of different recipes from around the world. We've got Japanese, we've got French, we've got Persian, we've got Japanese fusion with Italian. We have Vietnamese, we have Italian American, Chinese, Indian, Thai, and Mexican. We have so many recipes from around the world. B&B Face, I'd also like to know if Moley makes a robot that can cut veggies. Well, never know. In the future, that could be around the corner, but this is a fully CE certified product, which meets all the iOS and EN safety directives for UK and Europe. And obviously some part of that is that we can't have it chopping and holding a knife and preparing ingredients. So it's purely a cooking system. So it cooks your meals from start to finish. Another question is from B&B Face. Can you give me a link to a popular veggie cutting robot? I think you'd have to probably do your own research on that. I'm not too aware of any machines that can do what we do in terms of cutting the ingredients as well. But if you do your research, I'm sure you'll find systems out there where you can actually load ingredients into a little box container, drops into a dispenser, and I'm sure there's things out there that can do that. Mimosa Point, impressive presentation. Thank you very much. That's very reassuring. Thank you. Right, let's go to Facebook. Let's see what we've got on Facebook today. Nothing at the moment, so you're all engrossed in the actual cooking. That's good. Let's go on to YouTube. So we've got a question in from YouTube, Hind from Canada, and asking, can make authentic Indian dishes. I mean, especially tandoor, clay oven, 500,000, buys a lot of tandoori chefs. Robot. The actual cost is not 500,000. I just want to correct you on the cost. The actual starting price of our chef's table, which is a standalone system, only starts at £60,000, which is approximately $65,000 to $70,000. So that's the starting price. Can go up to whatever, but depends on the architecture of your kitchen, the design and the materials. I mean, our luxury premium range can be for about £100,000, which is about $115,000, $120,000. So it's not 500,000. I just have to correct you there. It's starting from $75,000, $80,000. And can it cook authentic Indian dishes? Yes, it can. So I cook an authentic lamb keema dish at home regularly, and we can actually upload your own recipes as well. So I gave all the information to our in-house chef, James Taylor, and I gave him a list of ingredients, the actual little video, a little method of how I cook it. He took all that information, got the ingredients. He did a couple of recipe tests here himself. Once it's all cooked to perfection and the way it should be, all the information was given to our engineers. Now, our engineers are based here in London, and they loaded all the algorithms, did a few tests, and within about 3 to 4 days, my recipe that I cook at home on a regular basis is now in the Recipe Cloud library. So, and it can be shared around the world. So that's really impressive that we can do that as well. Also, butter chicken, chana masala, aloo gobi. We have a lot of Indian dishes inspired by famous Indian chefs and our own chef as well, James Taylor. So yes, we have a lot of authentic Indian dishes. Thank you. Oh, and dal makhni as well. Dal makhni is a very popular Indian dish. We have that in our recipe library. A question here from Nelson Souza. Is there a robot that does everything from preparing ingredients to cooking? I'm lazy and just want to eat. Oh, of course, that's a good question. Unfortunately, no, this system, as I mentioned before, has to have the ingredients manually prepped before it's loaded into the containers. But after that, it's absolutely so easy. It's even got the integrated scale, so it tells you even how much to put into the actual containers. So it's such an easy process. And there is a little bit of, a lot of people still actually do enjoy prepping ingredients. I think that's part of the fun, knowing that you've prepped the ingredients for the whole cooking system to then cook. Intuit, questioning from Intuit, can this be scaled and to what level? I think that's more of a commercial question, so it can be scaled, and we do commercial systems as well, but each of those commercial systems are bespoke and customized. So I would say send in your workflow diagram, all your requirements, how many meals per hour, etc., etc. Send it onto our website via the contact us page, and I'll get somebody from the commercial team to get back to you, and we can arrange a virtual meeting and go through it in more detail. Another question from Intuit: how many servings possible? How many dishes at a time? So on average, all our recipes are servings for 3 to 4 people. And in parallel, we can cook two recipes, or even 4 recipes, or 3 recipes even, depending on the actual ingredients which need to be prepped beforehand. So once one recipe finishes, you can load the second. But it's all about timing, so you may want to put the longest recipe on first, and when that reaches the point when the containers are cleared, you can load the second one, and so on.
Set the hob to 7.
Also, how much do the different versions of the machine play into this capability? We have different versions of the machine. We have this is the X Air model, and behind me on the right you can see our B Air model. All the capabilities of these machines are exactly the same. So we can increase the actual capabilities if required, but at the moment we've only got them on the X Air on a single arm system, which is capable of doing 2 to 3 recipes, and also in parallel cooking 2 to 3 elements of that particular recipe in parallel as well. Mike Grizzly Gaming, can we see it cook a meal? Yes, you are. If you just watch this from start to finish, you'll see that it's put the onions in, it's put the garlic, it's going to do the sauce, and when it's required, we'll turn on the hob and the pot for the actual linguine. So you will see this being cooked from start to finish. You don't need to worry about anything else or do anything else. You've done all the hard bit, which is putting the ingredients in the containers, and that's it. You just simply wait. You'll hear the notification of the whole process, and it will be ready when it's ready, basically. Jonas, are there any restaurants that currently use any of your robots, such as this one? At the moment, no, but we do have a lot of pre-orders, and we have a lot of restaurants that we are currently doing work for. So at the moment, no, but there are some in the pipeline. Let's go back on Facebook, see if there's any further questions on Facebook. Not at the moment. Let's go back to Instagram. Wow, we've got a few more questions here. That's great. Impressive presentation. Yes, great presentation. Thank you very much. So, Teja V, how many total dishes it can cook as of the moment? So we have about, I think roughly about 51, 52 recipes. Actually, we recently put some more on. We've got about 56, 57 recipes now that have just been put on. So we've added to the collection. In fact, this is one of the latest additions. This is our latest edition, the Linguine seafood. And this has just been added onto the recipe library. Literally just, it was organized within about 3 to 4 days. And here it is. Another question here from Teja V. After getting it, how many to train to cook some dishes? How many to train to cook some dishes? Okay, so I don't quite understand the question. Is it to train yourself or train the system? Because you can't actually train the system yourself. You'd have to send all the information to us. We do everything from here, and then it's a cloud-based system, so you just do an update on your side, and you'll have all the new recipes. Let's go back on Facebook. Anything on Facebook? You guys on Facebook are a bit quiet, so send in those questions. Okay, let's see if there's anything more. Okay, so no questions, further questions at the moment, so we'll just talk you through. So the salt has just gone into the water, and that's purely for, it seems like a lot of salt, but it's not. It's actually just there to flavor the linguine. Now, control. You've got full control of this recipe. Now, there are some people who may not like parsley or may not want to put any garlic at all. You can simply omit that from the recipe. So just leave it as an empty container. It will still go through the whole movement, but it won't stop the whole recipe being cooked. So you can actually customize some of these ingredients as well. On some occasions, I've actually taken the base of a particular recipe and utilized what I have in the fridge. So if there's things in the fridge that are about to go beyond its best before date, you may want to use that. So things like soups and stews, where the base is like miso and soya sauce and so on, and rather than putting potatoes or butternut squash, you can substitute that with, say, chickpeas and kidney beans and other sort of ingredients that you want to use that could still taste just as nice. So a lot of these recipes are fully customizable as well. Another question in from Jonas. Would you need to measure out the ingredients for the robot in the prep, or is the robot capable of doing it itself? So you would need to measure out, and as I mentioned earlier before, we have an integrated scale system that makes it so much easier. So the scales, the container just sits on the scale. As you load the ingredient, the tablet will show you the weight requirement, and as soon as you hit that mark, you've done the exact amount of ingredient required for that recipe. So Francisco Rodriguez, basically the difference between the machine and a conventional kitchen robot is that it can move objects from food one side to the other. Not necessarily, that's obviously part of the whole process. As you can see, it's moving food around. But the health side. Now, this is basically using fresh ingredients. And we've looked at following lots of research by the global food research programs, especially the ones from North Carolina and Chapel Hill, and also the University in Toronto. And they conclude that eating healthy like this, using fresh ingredients, can actually reduce cancer by about 6%. It can reduce diabetes by about 48%, and also any other kidney diseases by about 60%. So extending your life, you could potentially, if you regularly cook like this, from home, using fresh ingredient, you could potentially add 11 years to your life, which gives you longevity, which is really important. And a lot of people now, especially post-COVID, are really keeping an eye on healthy food, food management, and healthy diets. Thank you. We are watching this for our robotic class. That's fantastic. Well, welcome you all in the robotic class, and I hope you guys are enjoying this so far. You can tell Jonas, if you have any questions, fire them across to Jonas, and Jonas send them through. We'll be more than happy to answer any questions that your students may have as well. Thank you for joining. That's really great. Another question on Instagram from mamasopoint.com. Can portions be adjusted automatically? Not automatically. Again, portioning is done manually, so you'd have to do that as a manual process. Here you go. They're just going to shake off the excess water from the linguine. Now, the actual system itself, in say an hour's worth of use, only takes up 120 watts of energy. You notice that it turned on the water when it was required and turned it off when it's finished. So normally when we cook, we leave the pots on and using more energy. So this is highly energy efficient as well. So it's only using the energy required at certain times. The actual robotic arm is industrial level. It's tested for 35,000 hours. So in a normal kitchen environment, there's almost 10 years use of the robotic system without any maintenance or service required.
Set sauce temp to 5.
Let's go back to Facebook. Any questions on Facebook? No, everybody's really quiet on Facebook today. Maybe because it's Friday, maybe, I don't know. Excellent, good. So linguine has gone in and it's almost finished. You'll see, if you go back to the tablet, I just want to show you the indicator. We have a flagging system that actually shows you how far down the recipe it's gone. So you're able to keep an eye on the recipe, and it's available on an app on your phone as well. So you can be sat there at home working, or you could be out taking the dog for a walk, or doing homework with the kids, or doing something else in the house, or enjoying a glass of wine with your friends or family. At least this way you can have it on a phone or the tablet, and you can see exactly how far down the process and how far away from the finished recipe. So it's a real good indicator. Rather than you have to keep rushing into the kitchen to have a look, there's no need. The system does everything. It tells you when it finishes, how far it's gone down the recipe, and when it's about to be ready. You could be setting the table, for example. You could have guests around. At least that way you can get the table nicely set. And this is time saving. This saves a lot of time. There's other things that can be done around the kitchen, saving you time, especially on the clear up, because after a nice meal like this, you don't want to end up going in the kitchen having to do a clear up and load in the dishwasher. You can actually do that. Once you're finished with all the ingredients, you can clear up behind you and enjoy the meal. So psychologically, a lot better for you, because you're going to be able to enjoy the meal a lot more. So as I mentioned earlier, this is the XM model available with work surfaces. We do all the furniture, we do the wood veneer, we do the high gloss finishing, we do the plumb mechanisms, we do the sink, the appliances. We partner with a lot of really good high-end appliances like Moley, Gaggenau, Siemens. The unit behind me on the right is the BM model. That's a compact model, which is ideal for galley kitchens. You can also have this on an island, so we've got it on a peninsula. If you want to have if you've got a larger kitchen, which is more open plan, you can actually position this on the island right in the middle of your kitchen as well. And it's very flexible. So if you've got any design requirements and you want to send us any information, contact us on our website page, send in your details, and somebody from the sales team will get in touch and we can discuss your requirements in more detail. We can arrange an online design meeting and do a virtual presentation as well. And also we can offer you a virtual presentation of a recipe being cooked as well, from the prepping of the ingredients to the finished result. So here we go. So you probably just heard in the background, the cooking process is now finished. And I think this is the best part of the whole process. I get to do a taste test. So I'm going to grab a little bit. Everything's been mixed in there. The linguine's in there. It's all done. It's all complete. Robot's done. And I'm going to taste a little bit so I can tell you guys exactly what it tastes like. Right, so I'm going to use the fork and the spatula together. Let's just grab everything nicely. Oh, I can see the prawns, I can see all the tomatoes in there, nicely mixed. There we go. Let's leave that in there. So here we have the finished result. Now, I didn't do anything at all apart from load the ingredients, and it's been cooked restaurant quality from using the fresh ingredients. And I tell you, it smells great. I'm just going to do a quick taste test and tell you guys exactly how it tastes. Perfect. Absolutely fantastic. Definitely restaurant quality, and I've had this sort of quality in really high-end restaurants, and it's cooked to perfection. So, thank you very much. I'm just going to check if there's any final questions. YouTube. Do you have any plans to add an autonomous preparation for ingredients as well? Not at the moment, but things like this, you know, in the future, we can always have a look at in more detail. Facebook and Instagram. Impressive, less than 20 minutes for Linguine, absolutely, less than 20 minutes and restaurant quality. So, on that note, thank you very much for joining me today, and I'll see you in 2 weeks' time for another recipe cooking show. In the meantime, have a great weekend and see you soon. Goodbye.